Ready for a nostalgic deep dive into classic TV mischief? Let's journey back to 1978, when a quirky alien named Mork crash-landed on network television and made Nanu Nanu a nationwide greeting. Below, you'll find 30 little-known facts about Mork and Mindy, 1978. From its surprising Happy Days origin story to the uproar that almost canceled the show, each tidbit pulls back the curtain on the wackiness, behind-the-scenes improvisations, and cast shake-ups that transformed this sitcom into an enduring phenomenon. Prepare for comedic chaos, celebrity cameos, time-traveling plans that never happened, and the electrifying spark that propelled Robin Williams to global superstardom. Let's jump in. 1. The surprising Happy Days. Origin. Few fans realize that Mork and Mindy began as a mere experimental twist in a single Happy Days episode titled My Favorite Orkin. In that 1978 episode, Mork arrives in 1950s Milwaukee with a bizarre plan to abduct Richie Cunningham. The premise was so out of left field, mixing classic rock and roll era nostalgia with a slapstick sci-fi cameo, that viewers were instantly hooked. They wrote in, phoned in, and buzzed about this kooky alien who somehow managed to one-up the Fonz. Realizing they had stumbled upon a comedic treasure, network executives quickly pivoted, granting Mork his own show. This spin-off approach was unusual even for the 1970s, but it set the stage for Mork and Mindy to flourish as a standalone series. What started as a throwaway gag soon became a cultural phenomenon, proving that sometimes the weirdest mashups can pave the way for TV magic. 2. Star Wars fever hits, 1950s, Milwaukee. The first glimmer of Mork's existence owes a debt to 1977's Star Wars mania. At the time, sci-fi fever was gripping audiences worldwide, and Gary Marshall, creator of Happy Days, found himself persuaded by his own son's plea, "Dad, you've got to do a spaceman." Eager to tap into the intergalactic buzz, Marshall decided to throw an alien into a show set decades before NASA had even landed on the moon. Yet it worked brilliantly. Mork's cameo spoke directly to Star Wars-obsessed kids of the era, who were thrilled to see a comedic extraterrestrial appear in what was otherwise a down-to-earth sitcom. This clever fusion of 1950s Americana and cosmic quirk turned out to be the ultimate ratings booster, compelling producers to explore Mork as more than just a one-time visitor. 3. Robin Williams's meteoric rise. Before Mork and Mindy, Robin Williams was no more than a promising performer juggling street comedy, small stand-up gigs, and the occasional audition. Though he had a Juilliard education, mainstream audiences had yet to discover his frenetic, shape-shifting humor. Once he slipped into Mork's red spacesuit, everything changed. His boundless energy, equal parts childlike mischief and razor-sharp improv, lit up the screen in a way primetime TV had never seen. Critics raved about the wild new comic who could mimic voices, personas, and even inanimate objects at breakneck speed. Overnight, Williams went from an obscure face in comedy clubs to a household name, setting the stage for his future success in films like Good Morning, Vietnam, and Mrs. Doubtfire. Mork and Mindy was his cosmic launchpad, sending him soaring into comedic legend. 4. The unconventional audition. Typically, sitcom auditions follow a predictable pattern: read lines, maybe do a chemistry test, then wait by the phone. Robin Williams, however, disrupted every convention. During his audition with Gary Marshall, he reputedly flipped his body upside down on a chair and spoke as if it were the most normal thing in the world. Marshall famously quipped, "If this guy isn't an alien, I don't know who is," and offered Williams the part almost on the spot. The move exemplified Williams's unbridled creativity. He wasn't performing a standard reading, he was proving that he could become Mork, a being unbound by the rules of Earth. That single audition story still circulates in Hollywood as a reminder that sometimes fearlessly weird choices can land you exactly the right role. 5. Pam Dauber's accidental casting. Pam Dauber's path to Mindy was anything but typical. She never actually auditioned, no reading, no screen test. Instead, Gary Marshall retrieved clips from a failed pilot called Sister Terry, which featured Dauber, and spliced them together with Robin Williams's scenes from Happy Days. He presented this makeshift reel to ABC executives, who felt an immediate spark of chemistry. Meanwhile, Dauber herself learned via an industry trade magazine that she'd secured the female lead opposite an alien. Initially skeptical, she warmed up to the idea once she realized the show wasn't just about spacesuits and weird antennas. Once on set, Dauber discovered she had the perfect foil dynamic with Williams. Her grounded sincerity provided the stable counterbalance to his tornado of comedic energy. 6. Doubts turned to delight. When Pam Dauber first caught wind of an alien-centered sitcom, she rolled her eyes. The concept seemed too gimmicky, like a short-lived attempt to cash in on the late 1970s sci-fi craze. But then she glimpsed Robin Williams's cameo in Happy Days and was blown away by his improvisational genius. Suddenly, her perspective flipped. If this alien show could harness Williams's frenetic brilliance, maybe it wasn't such a bad bet. Her character, Mindy, was crafted as the earnest, every-girl anchor to Mork's lunacy. Dauber found the push and pull between the two characters both challenging and thrilling. That dynamic soon became the heart of the series, proving that even the craziest idea, a cosmic visitor in Boulder, could soar when anchored by real emotional warmth. 7. Nanu Nanu and the Star Trek nod. One of the most iconic elements of Mork's persona was his offbeat greeting, Nanu Nanu, accompanied by a Spock-like hand gesture. This salute was no coincidence. Robin Williams was a self-proclaimed Trekkie who saw an opening to pay homage to the Vulcan "Live long and prosper." Yet, instead of a stoic farewell, Mork's version was playful and baffling in equal measure. Almost instantly, Nanu Nanu became a pop culture phenomenon, showing up on T-shirts, bumper stickers, and playground chatter. The phrase's sheer absurdity mirrored Mork's own outsider viewpoint, nonsensical to humans, yet somehow delightfully contagious. It underlined how the show could bring together fans of classic sitcoms and hardcore sci-fi devotees under one comedic roof. 8. The magic of Robin goes off here. Ordinary sitcom scripts might read, character A says X, character B replies with Y. Mork and Mindy scripts often featured entire sections labeled Robin goes off here, implying that nobody quite knew what might happen. Williams could sprint around the set, engage unsuspecting extras, or slip into half a dozen accents. Co-stars learned to brace themselves, occasionally biting their tongues to avoid cracking up. In many ways, these unscripted interludes provided the show's comedic lifeblood, giving viewers a sense of spontaneity rarely seen in the canned laughter world of late 1970s television. This unique method also gave Pam Dauber the challenge of reacting in real time, an adrenaline rush that helped her portray Mindy's bewildered devotion more authentically. 9. A modern setting in Boulder. Even though Mork was first introduced in Happy Days' 1950s Milwaukee, Mork and Mindy shifted to contemporary Boulder, Colorado. Gary Marshall chose Boulder partly because his niece was enrolled at the University of Colorado, and he liked the idea of a hip, outdoorsy setting that contrasted with nostalgic Milwaukee. This relocation wasn't just aesthetic. It allowed the series to explore current cultural trends, from health food to college politics, through Mork's alien lens. Boulder became more than just a backdrop. It was an active element in the sitcom's humor. Whether Mork was marveling at the Rocky Mountains or baffled by the local co-op, the city provided a real-world context for his comedic misadventures that felt fresh to viewers at the time. 10. The Real House at 1619, Pine Street on screen, Mindy's Victorian home exuded warmth and charm, perfect for the show's comedic heart. In real life, that very house at 1619 Pine Street in Boulder has since become a magnet for nostalgic fans. It has also popped up in other sitcoms, most famously in Perfect Strangers and Family Matters, as a versatile exterior shot. Over the years, tourists and locals alike have paid visits to snap photos and relive a piece of TV history. If you ever pass by, you might see fans busting out a Nanu Nanu in front of the porch. Despite its multi-million-dollar valuation, the house stands as a tangible piece of Mork and Mindy lore, connecting the fictional realm to a very real location. 11. Spacesuits and Star Trek. Hand-me-downs, Mork's iconic red spacesuit, with its silver triangle and alien detailing, might look tailor-made for him, but it owes a lineage to Star Trek's costume department. The showrunners at Paramount often reworked existing wardrobe pieces to keep production costs manageable. So, the suits you see in Mork and Mindy sometimes carried a history of spacefaring on earlier Star Trek episodes, like Colonel Green's outfit in The Savage Curtain. Fans who notice these similarities love to speculate about cross-universe connections, even though the truth is simpler. If Paramount had a halfway decent spacesuit lying around, they'd repurpose it. That budget-friendly approach turned Mork's outfit into a delightful Easter egg for observant sci-fi enthusiasts. 12. Overnight success in the ratings. When Mork and Mindy launched in 1978, viewers had never seen anything quite like Robin Williams' whirlwind comedic style in a primetime sitcom. The result? An immediate smash, rocketing to number 3 in the Nielsen ratings and pulling in over 60 million viewers each week. It even surpassed its parent series, Happy Days, which landed at number 4 that same season. The network had essentially stumbled upon a comedic goldmine, propelled by Williams's improvisational energy and the show's fish-out-of-water premise. Critics called it a breath of fresh air in a TV landscape crowded with family-friendly but predictable sitcoms. Mork and Mindy's success demonstrated that audiences were hungry for something new, weird, and unabashedly silly. 13. The Season 2 ratings crash. Hot on the heels of its first season triumph, Mork and Mindy underwent a drastic tumble in Season 2, dropping from number 3 to number 26. This whiplash was partly thanks to networks meddling with time slots. Viewers struggled to keep up with when the show aired. Additionally, ABC attempted to mature the storyline, diluting the silly improvisational magic that originally defined the series. Fans who tuned in expecting the same off-the-wall hijinks found a more controlled, meaningful version of Mork and Mindy, and many simply lost interest. The network's miscalculation became a case study in how tinkering with a runaway hit can backfire, proving that comedic lightning rarely strikes twice once you force it to. 14. The axing of Fred and Cora. In a misguided effort to attract younger viewers, executives decided to remove Mindy's father, Fred, Conrad Janis, and grandmother Cora, Elizabeth Kerr, from the storyline at the start of Season 2. They justified it with a contrived subplot. The pair leave for an orchestra tour. Fans revolted, since Fred and Cora brought a sense of generational warmth and stability amid Mork's zany antics. Realizing the error, producers scrambled to bring them back in Season 3, but the show's cohesive family vibe had already taken a hit. This abrupt casting shift highlighted the precarious balance between corporate-driven decisions and the emotional attachments viewers form with beloved characters. 15. A serious turn backfires. Another controversy of Season 2 was the attempt to pivot toward socially relevant plots, believing Mork and Mindy should address real-world issues rather than just comedic madness. On paper, it sounded noble. Add depth and longevity to the show. In practice, fans missed the unbridled silliness that made the series a breakout. The heavier tone felt out of place, as though the production had forgotten its comedic DNA. Critics were quick to note that viewers didn't tune in for a moral lesson. They tuned in for Robin Williams's improvisational genius. The show scrambled to revert to its original vibe in Season 3, but the damage was done. A significant chunk of the audience never returned. 16. Jonathan Winters as Mirth. By Season 4, the writers needed a new spark, so they introduced Mirth, the child of Mork and Mindy, who, due to Orcan biology, aged backward and arrived as a grown man. They cast Jonathan Winters, a comedic titan who happened to be Robin Williams's personal hero. Winters' presence reignited a little of that Season 1 magic, as Williams now had a comedic equal to improv with. Scenes between Mork and Mirth often broke the fourth wall as both actors tested the limits of each other's wits. While some found the premise too bizarre, an adult baby, many embraced it for the comedic fireworks. The Mirth storyline demonstrated that bold creative choices, even if divisive, could at least bring back some of the show's wacky spirit. 17. The Name the Baby contest. When producers announced an audience-driven contest to name Mork and Mindy's baby, fans eagerly submitted possibilities, unaware that the real name, Mirth, had already been chosen. They patiently waited for one fan to suggest Mirth, then declared that proposal the winner. This move was a classic 1970s TV gimmick, combining viewer engagement with a bit of backstage cunning. The hype boosted curiosity about Season 4, even among viewers who had drifted away. Yet, once Mirth actually appeared, reactions ranged from delight to bemusement, proving that the show wasn't afraid to chase even the quirkiest ideas in pursuit of fresh comedic energy. 18. The catchphrase. Conundrum. Nanu Nanu exploded into the pop culture mainstream, forever branding Mork as one of TV's most quotable characters. But as the show progressed, Robin Williams found himself repeating it on talk shows, in interviews, and even when fans stopped him on the street. He poked fun at this phenomenon by calling Mork Morko the Pin-Headed Boy and rolling his eyes whenever he had to deliver the signature line on camera. Despite the frustration, Williams understood that Nanu Nanu was integral to the show's identity, something fans adored even if it felt repetitive to him. It's a classic example of how a performer can feel both grateful and trapped by an iconic catchphrase. 19. Cult Leader. Exidor Robert Donner portrayed Exidor, an eccentric cult leader with an invisible congregation. This lunatic prophet emerged as one of Mork and Mindy's most bizarre yet beloved side characters. Inspired by the era's proliferation of fringe religious movements, Exidor took comedic aim at cult mania. He'd shout grand prophecies, often addressing Mork like a divine herald, and spew nonsensical dogma about imaginary followers. Each over-the-top scene with Exidor heightened the show's farcical tone, giving Robin Williams a hilariously extreme personality to bounce off of. Fans who rewatch the series today often cite Exidor's mania as a hidden comedic gem that complements Mork's alien weirdness. 20. Celebrity guest stars galore. Mork and Mindy became a magnet for special guests. Morgan Fairchild popped up in the first season, David Letterman made an appearance back when he was still a rising stand-up comic, and Raquel Welch famously took on a sci-fi role in Season 2. Later, Paul Reubens, pre-Pee Wee Herman, and William Shatner stopped by, each adding their distinctive flair to the show's chaotic tapestry. These cameos weren't just ratings stunts, they were comedic experiments, testing how well each celebrity could handle Robin Williams's improv-laden style. The unpredictability of each cameo made the show feel like a carnival where anything, or anyone, could materialize at any moment. 21. Raquel Welch's TV transition. Originally, Jane Fonda was floated for the role of Captain Nirvana, but schedule conflicts led to Raquel Welch stepping in. Welch was accustomed to film shoots with controlled sets and multiple takes. Adjusting to the rapid-fire, seat-of-your-pants vibe of TV, especially a comedic set dominated by Robin Williams's improvisations, wasn't easy. Rumors say she wrestled with the live audience format and the pace at which rewrites happened. Still, her episode became memorable for pairing Hollywood glamour with cosmic comedy and for giving fans a new vantage on Welch, who gamely embraced the outlandish premise, even if it sometimes tested her patience. 22. Skirting censorship battles. Even in a show about an alien from Ork, the 1970s TV censors found cause for alarm. When Morgan Fairchild's character was revealed to be pregnant, network officials worried the word "pregnant" was too suggestive for prime time. They insisted on substituting "having a baby." This might sound ludicrous by today's standards, but at the time, censorship rules were strictly enforced, even for comedic, family-friendly programming. So, while Mork could be absolutely bonkers with slapstick alien gags, certain everyday human topics had to be handled with kid gloves. The delicate balance underscored how different the cultural climate was, lending a fascinating historical footnote to Mork and Mindy's whimsical approach. 23. Filming on Paramount's stage. 27. Taping Mork and Mindy at Paramount's stage. 27 was like orchestrating a circus. Robin Williams's improvisational style demanded that camera operators stay nimble. During one take, he might be calmly delivering lines. In the next, he could be leaping onto a desk or yanking a prop from backstage. The multi-camera setup was designed to capture these unplanned bursts of creativity from various angles, but it still posed a challenge for crew members. Cast often reminisced about how each rehearsal felt like a brand new show because Williams never repeated the same joke the same way twice. The resulting energy on screen was palpable, helping Mork and Mindy stand out among more formulaic sitcoms of the era. 24. The voice of Orson. Though we never see Orson, his presence looms large thanks to the rich, authoritative voice of actor Ralph James. Known for his work in Tootsie Roll commercials and Pink Panther cartoons, James lent an almost paternal gravity to Mork's end-of-episode reports. This structure, Mork reflecting on human absurdities to an off-world boss, grounded the show's comedic chaos in a recurring sci-fi framework. Without Orson's voice, Mork's musings might have felt unmoored, but this consistent check-in reminded viewers that Mork had a mission: to study Earthlings and send his findings back to Ork. 25. The backward aging gag. Mork's unique biology, aging in reverse, was introduced to explain how he could appear in Happy Days' 1950s setting and remain ageless by the late 70s. It also justified the birth of Mirth, whose adult baby shtick became Season 4's wild storyline. Beyond these plot functions, the backward aging quirk added to the show's sense of whimsy, freeing the writers from typical human constraints. Whenever the series needed a quirky twist, like Mork randomly referencing the future he'd already experienced, they could invoke Orkan physiology. That comedic freedom was part of Mork and Mindy's charm. Normal rules didn't apply, and anything that inspired laughter was fair game. 26. Crossovers. Fonzie and Laverne meet Mork. Happy Days characters. Fonzie and Laverne cameoed in the Mork and Mindy pilot, bridging the two worlds in a surreal TV crossover. Later, Mork himself returned to Happy Days in an episode aptly titled Mork Returns, reinforcing the idea that these sitcoms shared a strange temporal continuity. Viewers got a kick out of seeing the Fonz react to Mork's alien antics in more than just one cameo. For ABC, this was marketing gold. Fans of Happy Days might discover Mork and Mindy, and vice versa. These crossovers also emphasized Mork's uncanny knack for defying time and logic, flitting between 1950s nostalgia and late 1970s modernity, without batting an eye. 27. Jay Leno's missed opportunity. Before he hosted The Tonight Show, Jay Leno auditioned for the role of Remo da Vinci, a friend of Mindy's who periodically appeared at her father's music store. Legend claims an ABC executive found Leno's jaw too pronounced and worried it could scare children, so they passed in favor of Jay Thomas. In hindsight, it's an amusing near miss, as Leno's comedic talents might have meshed well with Williams's mania. But that rejection possibly nudged Leno to double down on stand-up, eventually propelling him to late-night success. It's a classic Hollywood what-if that underscores how razor-thin casting decisions can alter entertainment history. 28. The Topps trading cards craze. By 1979, Mork and Mindy mania had reached the point where Topps saw fit to release a line of trading cards featuring show stills, comedic captions, and behind-the-scenes tidbits. Kids collected them in playground trades, stashing the cards in plastic sleeves alongside baseball heroes. These whimsical artifacts captured Robin Williams's exaggerated facial expressions and quirky catchphrases, preserving them on glossy cardstock. Over time, the cards became sought-after relics, not just for fans of Mork and Mindy, but for all collectors of pop culture memorabilia. Flipping through a set today feels like stepping into a time capsule of 1970s TV fandom, complete with rainbow suspenders. 29. The scrapped fifth season. As ratings waned in Season 4, the production team considered a drastic pivot for a potential fifth season. They imagined Mork and Mindy time-hopping to visit historical icons like Abraham Lincoln, letting Robin Williams's comedic anarchy loose in each era. Yet ABC, wary of increasingly erratic viewership, pulled the plug before these episodes could be developed. Some devotees lament the lost potential, wondering if this Mork through history concept might have revived interest or proven too outlandish, even for a show with an adult baby from Ork. Either way, it remains one of TV's many intriguing roads not taken, leaving fans to speculate about how Mork's comedic lens might have warped human history on screen. 30. Enduring cultural legacy. Decades after its cancellation, Mork and Mindy still occupies a cherished spot in pop culture memory. Nanu Nanu remains instantly recognizable, Shazbot still garners a giggle, and references to Mork's rainbow suspenders evoke a whimsical sense of 1970s nostalgia. Beyond the catchphrases, the show launched Robin Williams into a new stratosphere of fame and influenced other sci-fi comedies, like Third Rock from the Sun, that leaned on the alien observes human life formula. Its blend of slapstick goofiness, heartfelt friendship, and cosmic silliness created a sweet spot of humor that hasn't quite been replicated. For many, Mork and Mindy symbolizes a time when primetime TV could still be unabashedly weird, led by a comedic genius who turned every script into a playground of possibility. And there you have it, 30 facts that trace the cosmic and often chaotic journey of Mork and Mindy. From an experimental spin-off idea to a cultural phenomenon that soared at number 3 in the ratings, then sputtered into near obscurity after network meddling, it's a roller coaster that remains a prime example of 1970s TV daring. The show gave Robin Williams the platform to unleash his comedic genius, introduced iconic catchphrases still recognized today, and taught us that sometimes the weirdest ideas, like an alien in Boulder, become the most beloved. Looking back at these fun tidbits, it's clear that Mork and Mindy was far more than just another sitcom. It was a testament to boundless creativity, comedic improvisation, and the universal appeal of a lovable outsider just trying to understand Earth's peculiar ways. Nanu Nanu indeed.